Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Abashai Bahashim Rakak Radash. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you another lesson. Giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Bashim Abashai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, all the Akim out there that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the Confusion of Faith brothers joined unto our ranks, the Akwath, unlike this one, that's listening and learning. To them I say shalom. This is a response to a response, because I watched a video a little while ago that the apostle put up on this sister right here, this lost Akwath, that was going into her ancestry, and then when I went to go pull it up, first one popped up was the brother here from Atlanta, and this is his response video that I'm profiling. And first thing, I'm gonna just get the scripture that's quoted there. You know, I do believe that's hold on, because our people truly are lost, man. You know, I think that's Hosea 4:6. Our people are lost for lack of knowledge, and they are, because Jake, you got a lot of Jakes that's waking up to the fact that they're Israelites, but yet they still want to lean into their own understanding and read the Bible verbatim, you know, and not go into the root meaning of particular words, so that they can actually get understanding, or listen to men who can give them that understanding. All right, because it does tell you, you know, you have to believe that's in Acts when it says, how could I learn unless some man teach me? You know, I believe that's Acts the 8th chapter. But this is Hosea 4:6. It says, "For my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. And thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten thy law of thy power. I will also forget thy children." And we've been lost ever since. All right? And the fact of the matter is that we subscribe and believe in Esau and his fool system. You know, and you spend all this money to go learn things that are unprofitable. And if she knew actually real history, because I'm willing to bet she probably has a couple degrees, and she's probably even a substantial amount of in debt to the fool system, to this false educational system, because that's how Esau keeps his power. Lies. His history is all fabrication and lies. And all it takes is for you to do the diligent research. And when you do the diligent research and you prove that their history is lies and you bring it out, then they call it hate speech. So what she doesn't understand is that she was upset about finding her European ancestry when she thinks she's, first of all, she's not a damn African. All right, she's not black. Her hat is black. Her skin is brown. So you have a whole, I won't say the whole race, because many of our people have woken up, but you got a great portion of Israelites, all right, that refer to themselves as black, all right, when their skin is brown. Okay? Let me use this pointer here, this letter opener. That is black. Her hat is black. Her skin is brown. Okay? Once again, her hat is black. Her skin is brown. She is not black. She's brown. There's no such thing as black people. People are different shades of brown, and people are different shades of red. Hence the face in the corner of this homosexual right here. He is a homosexual. If you can see the point at the bottom right hand of the screen. He's got makeup all on his face and eyeliner. A masculine real man would never do that. Okay? But she doesn't know real history. This is a book that I highly suggest you get. And it's called Sex and Race. All right? And it's by J.A. Rogers. J.A. Rogers was born in 1869. All right? And he made a number of very, very important books that break down knowledge. One of the most important books he made was called Nature Knows No Color Line. And that's a picture of Queen Charlotte, who the royal family is claiming their ancestry to. Queen Charlotte was a Negro. All right. Meghan Markle is an Edomite. Her father is an Edomite. The woman does not determine nationality. The man does. Sperm seed is already a spirit, a person, a race. All right. The womb, when you plow a field of a woman, you plant your seed into her field, and her field produces the seed that you put in, not her own. The woman is of seed. She does not have seed. She is of seed. A woman is her father's seed. All right? So once another man plows her field, she's going to produce that man's seed. And if that man is not the same nationality, race as she is, she's bringing forth the fruit of that man. She's bringing forth his race, not her own. All right? Even if it does come out looking brown like her. Point blank, period, and simple. Okay? And one of the things that this DNA testing does, it does not acknowledge land migration, people migration patterns. They base your DNA according to the landmass you're from, and in most cases, the landmasses today, the original inhabitants are no longer there, or no longer in rulership. All right? Because Esau took over everything. He moved. That happened in the first Maccabees, when the Edomites got dominion over Europe and Asia and Africa, the whole known world, through Alexander. Okay? Let's read Jeremiah 49 and 11. And then I'm just going to show a couple things in this book and be done with this. It's not going to be a long lesson. So I'm actually kind of in a hurry. I got to be somewhere. So I need to get this work in. This is the most important work. All right? But this is Psalms 49 and 11. And it reads, "Their inward thoughts, that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generation. They call their lands after their own names." Okay? Greece, Rome, America, Australia, etc. Okay? This is what they do. And all those places in the past that I named thought that they would go on forever. Okay? They thought that they would go on forever. And they did not. All right? Every kingdom has a beginning, and every kingdom has an end. So let me share some information that's in this book, man. Sex and race. I'll give you a little bit of history about J.A. Rogers first. J.A. Rogers was born in 1859, which is the same time that the images of the book that I'm going to show you second was created. He was born the year that this book was published. All right? And when you look at the images, these are original coats of arms in Nature Knows No Color line. All right? So the history that's in the book that was done by Donald Fairburns, the Book of Crest in 1859, are the images that J.A. Rogers used. So these are the images directly from Donald Fairburns' Book of the Crest in 1859. All right? Which that book, from my understanding, is in the Library of Congress, and only a government official can rent that book out, because it tells you the truth about who the real ruling class people were in Europe pre-medieval during the Dark Ages. It was called the Dark Ages because it was ruled by dark people. Don't get it twisted. But this is page 196 in Sex and Race. All right? And I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to put it up to the screen so you can pause it and get the information for itself, for yourself, and the books that it actually came from. Because when you're quoting touchy information like this, it's good to use the sources where it came from. All right? And, I even got some idiots, this little imp, the Southern Viking. You're an Edomite. You're not a Viking. You're not European. You're an Edomite. All right? Damn imp. He's always on the comment board talking shit. All right? But this is page 196. the mixing of whites and blacks in the British Isles. And that's exactly what happened until the whites took it over, and now they call them so-called whites, and now they call themselves the royals. But I'm going to jump down to the third paragraph. As regards color, Tacitus, Roman historian of 80 AD, distinctly mentions the dark complexion of and the unusually curly hair of the Silures or black Celts who occupied England together with the fair-skinned, fair-haired people. He believed these black Celts had migrated originally from Spain. All right? And it reads, Professor Elliot Smith also finds that the populations which occupied Northeast Africa and the whole Mediterranean littoral, the Iberian Peninsula, Western France, and British Islands before coming of copper were linked together by the closest affinity. They were the same people, man. They were Israelites. Because Israelites took down Rome. You need to learn the history about the Black Caesars, about Persinius Niger and Septimius Severus. All right, and all the wars that went on between these so-called Negroes that led to the destruction when they took down Rome and they took over. That's why the Scots, the Irish, and the British were always into it. It's the same thing today. Negroes with that gang-banging crap. All right, and King James brought them all together. And then Esau came down out of the mountains, out of the Caucasus Mountains, where he was forced into during the time of the Dark Ages. And toward the medieval times, he started coming down, and he basically got dominion because it was prophesied. All right, it wasn't time for Jake to rule yet. All right, and this information in his book substantiates that. All right, an immense amount of data on the Negro in ancient Britain has been unearthed, principally by British archaeologist Gerard Macy. All right, and these are coming from the book Wilson D. Archaeology of Scotland, page 309. Edinburgh, 1851, New York Times Magazine, November 1st, 1936, page 22. South Africa in the Stone Age, Illustrated London News, 606, April 29th, 1933. Let's put those up on the screen. All right? And I've done this many a times, man. There's where this information is coming from. So this is not of my own. And that's what I love about J.A. Rogers and his books. He puts the sources, and the sources are all coming from so-called white scholars, man. Psalm 64 and 8, so that their tongue should be made to fall upon themselves. All right? And here's, it says, poet and Egyptologist Godfrey Higgins, who traced religious origins, and David McRitchie, who worked from folklore. Now, that's who the imp was coming against, David McRitchie. All right? Massey devotes most of the volume of his book, A Book of Beginnings, to the Egyptian origins in the British Isles. See, so there they go trying to make Africans and Negroes the same thing. All right? No, because they didn't want to admit that they were Israelites. A different dark race of people. And if you've been around Africans, you can clearly see that they don't look like this sister right here. This sister is actually really pretty. And the average African woman doesn't look like her. She doesn't. That's an Israelite woman right there. And the most attractive so-called African women are mainly the ones, well, there's some really attractive ones in Nigeria, because there's a lot of Jake there still in that part, in that whole region of Africa right there. But those real Hamite women are not pretty at all, man. And the Ethiopians and the Somalians, the what do you call them? The Ethiopians, Somalians, you know, those people in that region right there. They're very attractive, and that's because of the mixes. You know, a lot of those Hamites mix with Ishmael. All right, so they have a very unique look. You know, those people. But the typical African woman with the bone through her nose and the long neck and the darker brown complexion than her, they don't look like this woman right here. This woman is actually really pretty. All right, good thing she's pretty, because that's about all she got going for her. She's not too smart. But it says, Macy devotes most of the volume of his book, A Book of Beginnings, to the Egyptian origin of the British Isle. He thinks that the Stonehenge, the most famous ancient monument in England, was built by a Negro architect named Moorian. All right, that is Moor or Moor. And when you look up the word Moor, that's a German word which means black. So when people name Moreno, like a lot of those Sicilians, and you know, Moor, Moreno, those are names. As a matter of fact, in Spanish, that's what they call dark so-called Hispanics, Morenos. All right. He says now as a Negro is still as Morian in English may not be this to indicate that Morian belonged to the black race and the Cushite builder. So there they go trying to mix the Hamites, the sons of Ham, a different dark race of people, with the Israelites. Okay. I'll read a few more things and jump down to the books that this information came out. Higgins, an earlier writer, says that Negro builders were Buddhists and originated in India. And when I've been to that part of the world, never to India itself, but to different parts of Asia. All right, and those original Buddhists, they look like Negroes. All right, the earliest Buddhists are woolly-haired, flat-nosed, thick lips. A great nation called Celte, whom the Druids were the priests of, spread themselves almost all over the earth and can be traced to the gigantic monuments from India, extremely of Britain. And matter of fact, those Druids were those jakes who were wearing what you call dreadlocks or dreads. All right, that's who St. Patrick kicked out of. Those are the snakes that he got out of Ireland. Those Druids with all them snakes in their hair. Those wicked locks. All right, which is ungodly. All right, those wicked locks. Locks spoken of in the Bible are talking about braided hair. Samson had 7 braids. Locks. You called it a lock when you braided the hair together. You could unbraid it. Dreadlock, you can't do that. It says, learned mathematician Reuben Burrow has no hesitation to pronounce Stonehenge to be a temple of black curly-haired Buddha. Massey, a certain black Buddha of India, was imagined in Negroid type. Now, I don't know anything about this history. I'm just reading it. All right, I haven't studied, all the stuff about Buddha and stuff, but this is just what's in the book that historians way before me, well over 150 years ago, wrote into these books. All right, white historians, by the way, so-called white man. But it's funny how this information doesn't find its way on the shelves of the schools, the colleges, and the high schools and the grade schools here in America. This information is omitted. All right. It says, and certain the black Buddha of India was an image of a Negro type in the black Negro god. They carry color in the proof of the origin. The people who first fashioned and worshiped the divine image in the Negroid mode of humanity must, according to all knowledge of human nature, have been Negroes themselves. For blackness is not merely mystical. The features of the hair of Buddha belong to the black race, the Nashi, and the Negro name. Diana of Ephesus is found as a black figure. So when you're reading in the book of Acts, Diana was not, see that all those images of these white, so-called white people were Renaissance, the rebirth, the whitewashing of history, the Statue of David, and all those sort of things. All that Renaissance art, they try to use that art to explain and try to match it up with things that happened 1,000 or 2,000 years earlier. They'll talk about something 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, but then they'll show you 15th century art. No, that's not the case, because that's Esau trying to put himself in a place where he doesn't belong. With regard to worship, the Negro goddess in Britain, D.A. Mackenzie, The Ancients of Britain, I guess that's a book. In Scotland, the black goddess Negrodia celebrated black virgins in Chartres, France, is said to have been brought from Britain. McRitchie, in his Ancient and Modern Britons, deals with the later date. He mentions the dominance of the Moors in Scotland, King David, King James, as late as the time of the Saxon kings. The Anglo-Saxons meant angelic sons of Jacob, were not so-called white people. The whole WASP, white Anglo-Saxon people, is a myth. And the ones that did look white, that's who they were all kicked out of, but they had black forefathers. They were all kicked out of Europe by Oliver Cromwell. That's historically correct and factual. Right? This is when they took over and made themselves royalty. And these are coming from these two books at the bottom. All right? Anacopolis Lipsis, Volume 1, page 59, London, 1927. A Book of the Beginnings, Volume 1, page 18, and 218 London 1881. So it's just funny how these books just don't find their way to the shelf or it's not recommended study for colleges and things of that nature. And I'm just going to show you some images from Nature Knows No Color line. All right. And then remember, these came from the 1859 book written by a so-called white man named Donald Fairburns, which is in the Library of Congress. Negroes, coats of arms, and black noble families. All right. So read it and weep. Just like he said, Morin. Those went back to so-called black people. Names of families except 3 denote Negro ancestry. French, Italian, Spanish, Polish families. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Navashai Bashim Rakak Wadash Wa Abba Babal.